We move next down the line a little bit later, as my co-host said, there's some ACC simplifications here, which I don't think is what he meant to type, but after a long season, it's always great to poke fun at your co-host. I think there are some implications maybe in this one for
There we
Pittsburgh,
go.
2.5 point underdogs on the road at Georgia Tech. Total is 62 in this one. And unfortunately, Georgia Tech is not running the triple option like they did for years and years and years with a former Navy head coach whose name is escaping me. I was about to make a joke about it, but I can't even remember it, so that's not great. But 2.5 point dogs, Pittsburgh on the road at Georgia Tech. Total is 62. Is this an implication about getting in the playoffs?
Yeah, man, it's huge. It's a huge game. It's a huge game. It was so huge that I misspelled the word. But yeah, I mean, Narduzzi talked. We talked about it last week. Narduzzi was looking ahead to this game. I mean, only ACC games matter. I mean, which he wasn't totally wrong about. And I mean, they just didn't. I mean, it was a they put up a decent effort at first, and then they kind of just got blasted at the end. Jeremiah Love was unbelievable. But again, I think we could put a little bit of that just on not being fully focused on their opponent at hand,
You
and
said it.
because the game doesn't matter to them. Now here, I think they'll get obviously Georgia Tech's full attention. They have to. This is a big game for them and their playoff implications. Georgia Tech as well. Georgia Tech should have probably lost last week. I mean, they were down, I think, 13 going into the fourth quarter, and then they kind of rallied. Boston College played a really good game, and Georgia Tech has had this happen like several times over the season. Like so, they're not prone to getting upset. They like Pittsburgh is one of those teams that are highly volatile. They've got a good, despite what happened with Jeremiah Love, they got a good run defense, elite linebacking core, which should help here with Haynes King's legs. And you said they're not running a triple, but it's a somewhat similar scheme because they do a lot of misdirection, a lot of running with Haynes King and then Jamal Haynes. I mean, Pittsburgh generally doesn't blitz. They don't blitz a ton. Um, or I'm sorry, Georgia Tech literally doesn't blitz a ton, and that kind of helps Pitt because their quarterback, the freshman quarterback, struggles under pressure. Um, I just think that I think that this is a game where Pittsburgh comes to play. I like the over. Both teams, cover numbers at a high rate. Pittsburgh is 3-1 ATS on the road. Georgia Tech 4-1 ATS at home. So something's got to give here. I'm expecting both offenses to have a lot of success. Um, Heinz is, he's a gift and a curse. He's got 12 big time throws, 14 turnover worthy plays. So he's going to be boom or bust. He might can throw 2 touchdowns. He might can throw 2 touchdowns. He might can throw 2 interceptions that are returned for touchdowns. So highly volatile game. I love the over, but I think Pittsburgh wins this game on the field. As long as they can keep them behind the chains with that linebacking core, maybe get some pressure on Haynes King, force him into situations to throw, which they do not want to do. I think Pittsburgh's live to win the game. So give me Pittsburgh and give me over.
Yeah, so Pitt, you mentioned that they might not care so much about Notre Dame out of conference coming in because they were worried about trying to get a berth directly through the ACC. Do you see any, just based on where this number is, 2.5 point favorites, it's pretty slight for a home team that's capable, that's in a race. So is this the market telling you they don't give Georgia Tech a lot of respect to win this game, or are you saying that there's a lot of respect for Pittsburgh despite what happened with Notre Dame?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of both. I just think, I mean, numbers wise, you have to look at it as like they're saying that the market is basically telling you Pitt's the better team. Generally, I mean, Georgia Tech doesn't have a huge home field contingent. Being in Atlanta with a lot of things to do in downtown Atlanta, so they don't
Yeah,
have a
or just
huge.
not go to Georgia Tech games. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So and they've had success over the past few years under Brent Key. So and it just don't get a ton of crowd support there. So it's not a ton of home field advantage, but again, it's still you're coming off that physical game with Notre Dame. Georgia Tech's also coming off of a near loss, so they'll probably be a little bit sharper. So you would think they would get a little bit of a bump, but this typically is about at least 3.5, 4. So I think the market is telling you, hey, Georgia Tech is the right side.
Yeah, probably more fans than the Paul Johnson era is with the option, triple
There we
option
go.
I was
There we
thinking
go.
for way back when.